Okay, so first of all, we are coming off Shabbos, parshas Chukas. One of the ideas that we tried to bring out was the Kiddush Hashem aspect of it. And Benji, I thank you for the ha'ara, that my diuk, that the skula for menucha, ve'yanuchu vo Yisrael mekadshe shemecha, is certainly a little bit of a jump. Why? Because the parshas is the Kiddush Shmecha is referring to the Shabbos itself. And Shabbos itself, being Mekadosh Shabbos, means that you're designating the Shabbos for a greater awareness of the Rebbeinu Shalom. That's put into simple English of what Shabbos is about, of Kiddush HaShabbos. Designating a day, that's what how we say Taich of Kiddush is, designating a day to a high level of experience. Fine. But it's true that the concept of Kiddushim in general is really the same idea. When a person does something positive, you're walking around and a non-Jew sees, wow, this is a godly person. Jewish people think differently, act differently, are more of a mensch, they have more manners, they're thinking people. That brings a greater awareness of the Rebbeinu Shalom. So it's the same idea, and it's certainly something that we could take from this week's parsha. We're going into a new week, a week of preparation for Parshas Balak. Shabbos is also Yud Zayin Tammuz, so it starts at 3 weeks. To many people, the 3 weeks is a time where you kind of like just go into depression, sadness, atzvus, no parties, no music. For some people, no music is a very, very challenging thing, but it's not just not music. It's the entire, really, the atmosphere of the 3 weeks is no weddings, no music, and basically, we can't be so much besimcha as we usually are. And with that goes the idea that, you know what, I'll somehow survive the 3 weeks, and then afterwards get back to really working into getting close to Hashem and being over Hashem with simcha. And that's a major mistake. I want to read you something from the Piskei Tshuvos. This he was writing actually himself, Rabbi Rabinovich, in the name of his grandfather, Skenoi, which is in a sefer called Todas Adam. And he says the following: When we say that a person should start lower the elements of simcha, it's in things that are reshus, not a mitzvah. Any aspect of Avodah Hashem, adrabah. Yesh la'asoisem b'simcha rabba uveruusa deliba ki hazman mesugal. This is actually a time, the exact opposite. It's always like that. The time when we think is the time when we can't really get so close to Hashem. That's the time. He says it's hazman mesugal iskav melech ubiyichud b'shabbasos sheben hametzorim. The Shabbos is a ben hametzorim, which we would think of like on the lower level, are the highest places where you could get closer to Hashem. And he says, the fixing of these 3 weeks is to, of course, fix the mistake of sinas chinam. If you look, actually, there's a Rokeach, and he quotes this a little bit earlier. The Rokeach writes in the pasuk in Eicha, Kol roitfei sigua ben hametzorim. Literally means all those that are pursuing Yerushalayim and Klal Yisrael, hisigua ben hametzorim. They were able to attain and reach us during these 3 weeks, ben hametzorim as they're called. But the Rokeach says that Kol roitfei sigua ben hametzorim is really telling us another aspect. Besides, there's a Gemara that he says, the Holy Sfarim say, Kol roitfei, take the word roitfei, means roideif ka. Those that are running after the Rebbeinu Shalom to get closer to him, dafka ben hametzorim, you could reach him. So that's something so important, especially the word Tammuz is Roshei Tevos, it's brought down already, the Roshei Tevos of Zmanei Tshuva Memashmashim Uboim. Tammuz is Zmanei Tshuva Memashmashim Uboim. What did that mean? What does that mean to us? That this time of Tammuz is fakir, is the time where we could really get closer to Hashem. Because the Rambam says, what is Tshuva? The highest level of Tshuva is Tshuva Me'ava. Is that I want to get in love with the Rebbeinu Shalom. I want to love the Rebbeinu Shalom. That's what these 3 weeks are an opportunity for. And it really connects very much to Balak, which is my favorite story of the Aptarav. Someone came to the Aptarav and told the Aptarav, you know, you always say that every parsha has a mitzvah of Aptarav kamoicha. Parshas Balak, there is no mitzvahs. Look in the Chidush, 0 mitzvahs. Certainly there's no mitzvah of Aptarav kamoicha. And of course the Aptarav thought for a second and then he said, what do you mean? Balak is Rosh Tevos, ve'Aptarav kamoicha. And the Chassid looked at the Rebbe and said, I know, usually I don't know diktuk so well, but ve'Aptarav kamoicha is now with a vav, it's a base, meaning V'atarachim is with a vav, and here it's a base, and Kamoicha is with a kaf, not a kuf, and Balak has kuf, not a kaf. And the Rebbe said, after Rav, the Oyev Yisrael, he said, classic. He said, if you're going to be so medaktek, you're never really going to come to Avos Yisrael. So that's the idea. Parshas Balak opens us up, and we'll see it's actually merumos in the parsha very much. Later on we'll discuss this, to really open up our hearts and start loving Jews and be less medaktek, and with that, the Rebbeinu is going to be less medaktek with us.